Good morning. My name is Remy Creighton. I've lived in Easton my entire life and attended all Easton schools from kindergarten to high school. Now I'm a senior. Now I'm in my senior year in high school playing football, lacrosse, and wrestling. On the academic side of things, I'm currently taking public speaking classes because there's always room for improvement.
Hi, I'm Allie's World. I also grew up in Easton my entire life, and I'm a senior at Oliver Ames as well. I played volleyball and basketball, and I'm a part-time babysitter, so I'd like to consider myself good with kids. Remy and I created this organization because we are constantly surrounded by vaping and its dangers. We hope to influence the people around us and other teenagers who are also putting themselves at risk. Remy and I created this presentation on community awareness referred to vaping. We chose this topic hoping to inform the people of society about its dangers and how it is an addicting drug. This nationwide drug has been an issue for decades now and has continued to target teenagers. Our organization was created to seek the ending of the spread of vaping. For those of you who do not know, vaping is an addictive drug that tends to lure a lot of people's health in very quickly. Most vapes include flavors that add that bit more excitement to customers. Businesses have skyrocketed in selling Juuls and other products over the years, which has allowed people to monopolize off of America's youth. Some might ask why our name is Juul is cruel and not cigarettes are cool. Here's why Juul is the face of vaping. Here's why Juul is the face of the vaping industry. It took off in 2017, and it is now the most famous vaping product used today. We aren't targeting cigarettes because vaping makes you 3 times more likely to start smoking cigarettes, and we want to get rid of the problem from the root.
Vaping brings many problems to the table. The obvious problem is the health problems that vaping causes to the bodies, specifically teens, underdeveloped lungs, underdeveloped brains. These can be highly affected by vaping in a negative way. Another problem we are facing is advertising presented a huge issue must be addressed. The advertisements to the right are manipulating a certain age group and projecting these dangers of drugs to teens. The vaping companies are targeting me and you, teens, young and adults. And here's why. Without being able to so easily sell vaping products to teens, their businesses would be nowhere. Not only do vaping businesses do this, but they put warning labels in small and dark print or in inconvenient places so that we don't see them or just glance over them. This is on purpose as it is a tactic used by corporations to trick consumers. Through our project, we hope to reach students across the country throughout a private seminar assembly and encourage them to discontinue the use of e-cigarettes. We believe by educating the youth that they are the most effective by this epidemic of vape use. Another milestone would be to hire different workers that have experience and are well educated in the field of vaping as well as public speaking. And a third and equal as important milestone is to create a plan that use high schoolers that could use to stop their use. This includes providing the correct counseling and programs for students to be able to feel comfortable about their journey. We plan to work with schools that we give seminars to.
Our organization is split up by our employees. Both Remy and I had our own responsibilities to accomplish. Remy is shown in the picture at the top right. His job was to make sure things were kept in order. For example, to make sure that that technology was charged, to answer any given questions, and to manage time accurately. He is supposed to make sure that this is not just a slide of information being read to students, but more of an important message that will change their outlooks on what they're putting into their bodies. On the other hand, I am represented in the picture on the bottom right. I was in charge of scheduling the seminars and executing the seminar in a clear way for the students to understand. The schedule is separated by days of the week. Each weekday, Juul's crew is scheduled to attend a different high school and present the seminar. For example, we're scheduled to attend Stoughton High School on Monday, and Tuesday we are going to Brockton. Attending all of the neighboring towns' high schools will hopefully create a presentation of the same idea that vaping is bad. We feel that it is important to go to each school even though they are close to each other. This is because we've witnessed vaping at each of these areas, and sometimes all it takes is for one student to realize the effects and spread the message to their friends. A student's friend has a better chance of influencing one's decision rather than listening to an adult. Our schedule is very organized in a manner of bringing our message all around the state. The metrics table that we created allows the process to run smoothly with all the details that we need going forward. This way, ahead of time, we know important things such as how far each school is away exactly, the nearest gas station to each school, gas prices, and anything else that is necessary to know along the way.
In today's world, a good amount or risk come with traveling to a school entering new environments. The obvious risk is COVID-19. This is very important to be cautious about because it's spreading like never before. Our organization grows and adds employees. We need to be more cautious than ever. Use wipes, sanitizing, masks, traveling off traveling based off a negative test is completely necessary. We want to make sure that we are relying an important message, but in a safe, healthy way at all times. We have to be cautious in other senses as well. When there are anxious children or children that are typically com- not comfortable in a group setting, we will do everything we possibly can to make them feel welcome and safe environment. Onto the budget, we only have $500 to get started. This is a miracle and it seems unrealistic, but there are not many costs that we will need to pay. Travel and equipment are only costs that we need to save for. As we continue to present at other schools, we quickly will earn money and be able to pay for those needs. The money factor is very significant positive to this process because money is usually a potential issue. The execution is the most important part of the presentation. We take different steps to allow this process to go smooth and successful. We will go into detail about how we are and why we are here. We are going to explain how we are here to try and influence the teenagers to realize the effects of this device and hopefully persuade users to stop while they can. Then we will present a slideshow to that was created to inform people of the effects. The slideshow will be able to give the students and teachers a visual effect of the use of nicotine. Next, we are going to experiment with cotton balls and bottles and cigarettes. This experiment will give us a realistic representation to the teens that vaping does to the lungs. When people see the drastic change in appearances of the lungs, a change will most likely occur. The cotton balls will be inside the bottle, representing the lungs of the human. The cigarettes will be burning, put into the lungs inside the bottle. The theoretical simulation that shows the people a long-term realization about what this drug does. Hopefully, the experiment will be the most persuasive part of our presentation. Then we will proceed to a more personal activity called realization activity. Within this activity, we will call up a volunteer, tell them to bring 10 of their friends on stage, and let them know that 1/3 of them will start vaping, and tell them the percentage and risk of they have of dying from vaping. The exercise will allow students to be singled out and make them feel as if they are a more prominent issue that needs to be addressed in their lives. After that, I will tell a heart-to-heart story that will hopefully create an emotional and sympathetic response to the idea of vaping. The story will be about someone I knew that got diagnosed with lung cancer and obtained blacker lungs. It will help the audience to realize this can happen to anyone. Heart-to-heart stories have a sense of pathos or emotion, which draws the attention of the listeners. After all these persuaders will take some time to ask for questions and answers. After all the exercises and activities that we practice, we hope that the students will be more comfortable to ask any questions.
When it comes to the future, when it comes to public demonstrations, it's very important to pay attention to feedback from the students listening. In the future, factors such as body language, responses, and questions are extremely important to pay attention to if we strive to improve the presentation. Some other tips include attending wealthier schools, allowing it to cover gas pay when we travel. Some lessons that we learned are that someone who wants to make change doesn't need to have a large amount of money in the beginning. You can start small and make a change too. People tend to assume that they need absurd amounts of money to be able to make a change in this world and influence other people. In reality, all you need is your voice and to use it. People will listen. We hope that people around us realize what they are surrounded by as well, and not to continue to fall into the same hole that everyone is continuing to. Remi and I hope that to be a part of the reason that teenagers' health begin to increase again and hopefully do not affect their futures negatively any longer. Also, advertising can be tricky and confusing when it comes to propaganda. You do not want your message to be interpreted incorrectly by the audience. These are some websites included in the bibliography that became helpful to find reliable information used in the project. Thank you for listening.